Rising from the shadows, Captain Elena Reyes stood motionless on the bridge of the HSS Valiant, her eyes fixed on the vast emptiness of space displayed on the main view screen. The stars glittered like diamonds against the darkness, deceptively peaceful. This moment of quiet wouldn't last long. It never did. "Status report," she commanded, her voice carrying the weight of authority earned through 15 years of military service. At 42, Elena bore the signs of someone who had seen too much conflict. A thin scar across her left cheek, prematurely gray streaks in her otherwise dark hair, and eyes that carried both determination and fatigue. Commander Sato, her executive officer, looked up from his station. "All systems nominal, Captain. Stealth systems operating at 97% efficiency. We remain undetected." Elena nodded, satisfying herself with a slow walk around the circular bridge. The Valiant shouldn't exist. By all rights, it violated every treaty, every agreement, and every restriction that had been imposed on humanity for the past 70 years. The ship represented humanity's secret defiance, a warship built in the shadows of asteroid mining facilities, using technology that humans weren't supposed to possess. "Dr. Novak, any changes to our cargo?" Elena asked, turning to the science station where a lanky man with wire-rimmed glasses was hunched over complex readings. Dr. Mikhail Novak shook his head. "The artifact remains stable, Captain. Energy signatures unchanged since we recovered it from Proxima Station." The artifact. The reason for their mission. The reason 23 billion humans might live or die in the coming days. Lieutenant Commander Jackson at Tactical cleared his throat. "Captain, we're approaching the Arcturus Gap. If we're going to make our move, it needs to be soon." Elena moved to the center of the bridge, her hand resting on the back of her command chair. The Valiant carried a crew of 150, Earth's finest pilots, engineers, scientists, and soldiers, all volunteers, all aware they might never return home. "Listen carefully," she said, her voice carrying across the bridge. "For 70 years, humanity has survived under the protection of the Orion Collective and the Tauri Dominion. They've restricted our technology, limited our expansion, and kept us divided among our colony worlds." Several crew members nodded grimly. The Orion Collective controlled the inner systems with their bioorganic ships and hive-mind approach to governance. The Tauri Dominion ruled the outer systems with crystalline vessels and cold calculation. Both alien powers claimed to protect humanity from the dangers of the galaxy and from themselves. "They've told us these restrictions are for our own good," Elena continued. "That humans are too aggressive, too unpredictable to be trusted with advanced technology. But we've discovered the truth." On the main screen appeared an image of the artifact in the ship's secure hold, a metallic sphere roughly 1 meter in diameter, covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift when viewed too long. "This is what they fear," Elena said. "Not our aggression, not our unpredictability. They fear our potential." Dr. Novak stepped forward. "The artifact is of unknown origin, predating both the Orion and Tauri civilizations. Our research suggests it's a key to understanding quantum field manipulation on a scale we've barely imagined. In simple terms, it could revolutionize propulsion, weapons, and energy production. And both alien powers have been searching for it for centuries," Commander Sato added, "until we found it first." Elena nodded. "Our mission is simple but dangerous. We will transport the artifact to Haven Colony, where our scientists have established a secure research facility. If we succeed, humanity will gain the leverage it needs to negotiate as equals, not subjects." Lieutenant Torres at Navigation suddenly straightened. "Captain, I'm detecting anomalous readings at coordinates 227 Mark 43. Identification?" Elena asked sharply. "Unknown, but the energy signature is consistent with Tauri stealth technology." Elena's lips thinned. "Tactical, ready defensive systems. Do not power weapons yet." "Could be a coincidence," suggested Commander Sato. though his tone indicated he didn't believe it. "The Tauri don't do coincidences," Alina replied. "Communications, are we being scanned?" Lieutenant Chen at Communications shook her head. "No active scans detected, but—" She paused, adjusting her instruments. "Captain, I'm detecting a weak transmission from within our ship." The bridge fell silent. Alina locked eyes with her security chief, Lieutenant Commander Ortiz. "Find it," she ordered quietly. "Now." Ortiz nodded grimly and exited the bridge. "Change course," Alina commanded. "Take us through the Barnard debris field. If someone's watching us, let's make it harder for them." The Valiant altered course, heading toward a dense region of asteroid fragments and dust, the remnants of a planetary collision centuries earlier. Perfect for hiding, but treacherous to navigate. "All hands, yellow alert," Alina announced. "Prepare for possible evasive maneuvers." 30 minutes passed in tense silence as the Valiant slipped deeper into the debris field. Lieutenant Torres guided the ship with expert precision, avoiding the larger fragments while using the smaller ones to mask their signature. The bridge doors slid open, and Lieutenant Commander Ortiz returned, his expression grim. He approached Alina and spoke in a hushed tone. "We found the transmission source. It's a quantum entanglement communicator, Tauri technology. It was hidden inside Dr. Mercer's personal effects." Alina's blood ran cold. Dr. Sarah Mercer was their lead physicist, the one person who understood the artifact better than anyone else on board. Where is she now? Security has her confined to quarters. She claims she didn't know it was there. "Captain," Lieutenant Chen interrupted urgently. "The unidentified vessel is moving. It's on an intercept course. Definitely Tauri design." "Red alert," Alina ordered. "Battle stations." The bridge lighting shifted to a dull red glow as crew members rushed to their combat positions. The peaceful quiet of moments ago was replaced by controlled chaos. "They're powering weapons," reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson. "Defensive systems online," Commander Seto confirmed. "Shields at maximum." Alina stood, facing the main screen where the sleek, crystalline form of a Tauri Sentinel-class warship was now visible. It was twice the size of the Valiant, its translucent hull glowing with internal energy. "They're hailing us," Lieutenant Chen reported. "On screen," Alina ordered, straightening her uniform jacket. The screen shifted to show a Tauri commander, humanoid in basic form but with skin like polished alabaster and eyes that glowed with an inner light. The Tauri had no visible mouth, communicating through a combination of telepathy and technology. "Human vessel." The alien's voice resonated both from the speakers and uncomfortably in their minds. "You possess property that belongs to the Dominion. Surrender your ship and prepare for boarding." Alina kept her expression neutral. "This is Captain Alina Reyes of the HSS Valiant. We are on a peaceful scientific mission and are carrying no contraband under existing treaties." "Deception is inefficient," the Tauri responded. "Our agent has confirmed the presence of the Nexus artifact. Resistance will result in your destruction." The screen went dark. "They're targeting weapons," Jackson reported tensely. Alina's mind raced. They couldn't outfight a Tauri Sentinel, but they might outmaneuver it in the debris field. Evasive pattern Delta. "Take us deeper into the field." The Valiant banked sharply, accelerating toward a denser cluster of asteroids. The Tauri vessel fired, its energy beams carving through space where the human ship had been moments before. "Return fire," Alina ordered. "Target their sensor arrays only." The Valiant's pulse cannons responded, blue energy striking the Tauri ship's forward section. The shots caused minimal damage but momentarily disrupted the alien vessel's targeting systems. "Captain," Dr. Novak called out, his voice strained. "The artifact is responding to the weapons fire. Energy levels are increasing exponentially. Can you stabilize it?" Alina demanded. "Trying, but—" A brilliant flash of light erupted from the science station's monitors. Throughout the ship, alarms blared. "The artifact is generating some kind of quantum field," Novak reported, frantically working his controls. It's expanding throughout the ship. Another hit from the Tory vessel rocked the Valiant, sending several crew members sprawling. "Shields down to 63%, reported Commander Sado. "We can't take many more hits like that." "Captain," Torres called out, "I'm detecting another ship approaching. It's an Orion collective vessel." Alina's heart sank. One alien superpower they might evade. Two at once was a death sentence. The massive, organic-looking Orion vessel emerged from behind a large asteroid, its hull seeming to pulse with life. Unlike the geometric precision of Tory ships, Orion vessels resembled enormous sea creatures, all curves and biological symmetry. "They're powering weapons too," Jackson confirmed grimly. Alina made her decision. "All power to engines. Get us out off." Her order was cut short as the artifact's energy field suddenly expanded dramatically. The bridge lighting flickered, and strange, swirling patterns of energy danced across every surface. "What's happening?" Alina demanded, turning to Dr. Novak. The scientist stared at his readings in disbelief. "Captain, the artifact is creating some kind of localized spatial distortion. It's almost like it's trying to protect us." On the main screen, they watched in astonishment as both alien vessels suddenly slowed, appearing to move through molasses. "They're caught in some kind of temporal field," Novak explained, his voice filled with wonder. "Time is moving differently for them than for us." "Can we use this?" Alina asked quickly. "If we move now, we might escape before the effect dissipates." "Do it," Alina ordered Torres. "Maximum thrust. Get us clear of the debris field and set course for the Hades cluster." As the Valiant accelerated away, leaving the temporarily trapped alien vessels behind, Alina couldn't shake the feeling that they had just crossed a threshold from which there was no return. The artifact wasn't just a piece of advanced technology. It was something more, something alive in its own way. And it had chosen humanity. In the ship's break, Dr. Sarah Mercer sat alone in her cell, a slight smile playing across her lips as she felt the artifact's power pulse through the ship. Everything was proceeding exactly as planned. The Valiant raced toward the edge of charted space, carrying its mysterious cargo and a crew now caught between two alien superpowers. What none of them yet realized was that their actions had just ignited the spark of a conflict that would reshape the galaxy, a conflict where humanity would finally show its true potential. And its true power. Defiance and destiny. The HSS Valiant drifted silently through the vast nebula known as the Hades cluster, its external lights dimmed to near darkness. Within the swirling clouds of cosmic dust and ionized gas, the ship was virtually invisible to conventional sensors. Captain Alina Reyes stood in the dimly lit observation lounge, staring out at the colorful chaos beyond the reinforced viewports. 3 days had passed since their narrow escape from the Tory and Orion vessels. 3 days of running. 3 days of questions with too few answers. The door slid open behind her, and Commander Sado entered, his normally composed features showing signs of fatigue. "Status report," Alina said without turning around. "Engineering has completed repairs to the shield generators. We're operating at 92% capacity," Sado reported. "Dr. Novak has the artifact secured in the modified containment chamber. Its energy output has stabilized, but he says it's evolving somehow." Alina finally turned to face her XO and Dr. Mercer. Sado's expression darkened. Still claiming she had no knowledge of the transmitter, security found nothing else suspicious in her quarters or personal files. But you don't believe her," Alina finished for him. "Do you, Captain?" Alina sighed. "I've known Sarah Mercer for 8 years. We served together on Europa Station. She lost her husband when the Tory enforced quarantine protocols during the Phobos outbreak, which would give her plenty of reason to hate them," Sado pointed out, "or to work with them under duress." Their conversation was interrupted by Lieutenant Chen's voice over the comm system. "Captain to the bridge. Priority transmission incoming." Elena and Seto exchanged a glance before quickly making their way to the bridge. As they entered, Lieutenant Chen looked up from her station, confusion evident on her face. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission on a frequency I've never seen before. It's somehow cutting through the nebula interference." "Source?" Elena asked sharply. "Unknown, but—" Chen hesitated. "It's asking for you by name." Elena nodded. "On screen, but maintain communications blackout on our end." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing the face of an elderly man with weathered skin and clear blue eyes. He wore no uniform or insignia, just simple civilian clothing. "Captain Reyes," the man said, his voice carrying a quiet authority. "My name is Marcus Donovan. I represent Haven Colony. We've been expecting you." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Haven Colony was supposed to be their secret destination, a hidden human settlement beyond the reach of both alien powers. Only 5 people on the Valiant knew its coordinates. "Lieutenant, trace that signal," she whispered to Chen. The man on the screen smiled slightly. "There's no need for that, Captain. I'm transmitting from coordinates that should already be in your navigation computer. We're monitoring the nebula. 2 Tauri scout ships entered the northwest quadrant 6 hours ago. They'll find you eventually. You should make your way to us before that happens." The screen went dark. "Did you get a trace?" Elena asked Chen. "Yes, Captain." The signal originated from exactly where he claimed, the coordinates for Haven Colony. Elena turned to Saito. "Could be a trap. Could be our only option," he countered. "The nebula will only hide us for so long." After a moment's consideration, Elena nodded. "Set course for Haven Colony, but approach with caution. All hands remain at yellow alert." As Torres plotted the new course, Lieutenant Commander Ortiz entered the bridge and approached Elena. "Captain, I need to speak with you privately." In her ready room adjacent to the bridge, Ortiz placed a small datapad on Elena's desk. "We completed a full scan of Dr. Mercer's quantum entanglement device. It's more sophisticated than anything we've seen before." "Tauri technology?" Elena asked. "That's what's strange. It has components consistent with both Tauri and Orion design philosophies." Ortiz frowned. "That's unprecedented. Those 2 species have been enemies for millennia." Elena's mind raced with implications. Could someone be playing both sides? "There's more," Ortiz continued. "We found this in Dr. Mercer's personal log." He activated the datapad, revealing a series of encrypted entries that had been decoded. "She's been in contact with someone calling themselves the Director for at least 2 years. The messages suggest she's part of something called Project Prometheus." Elena scanned the entries, her concern deepening with each line. "Have you confronted her with this?" "Not yet. I wanted your authorization first." "Bring her to my ready room. I want to speak with her alone." 20 minutes later, Dr. Sarah Mercer stood before Elena's desk, her posture defiant despite being in custody. At 45, she remained striking. Tall and lean with auburn hair streaked with silver and intelligent green eyes that missed nothing. "Sit down, Sarah," Elena said, gesturing to the chair opposite her. Mercer complied silently. "Project Prometheus," Elena began without preamble. "What is it?" If Mercer was surprised by the question, she didn't show it. "Humanity's last hope," she replied simply. "That's not an answer. It's the only one that matters." Mercer leaned forward. "Elena, we've known each other a long time. You've never trusted the stories the aliens tell about protecting us. You've always suspected there was more to their benevolent oversight. So enlighten me," Elena said coolly. Mercer was quiet for a moment, as if making a decision. "The artifact wasn't found by accident. We've been searching for it for 15 years, ever since we discovered references to it in ancient ruins on Epsilon Eridani IV." "We?" Elena prompted. "A coalition of scientists, military personnel, and colonial leaders who believe humanity deserves true independence." Mercer's eyes flashed with conviction. Both the Orion Collective and the Tauri Dominion have been manipulating human development for centuries. They've engineered conflicts between our colonies, sabotaged our technological advances, all while pretending to be our protectors. And your transmitter? You've been feeding information to one or both alien powers. Mercer shook her head emphatically. No, the quantum entanglement device communicates with other human operatives in key positions throughout colonial space. The director coordinates our efforts. Elena studied Mercer carefully, looking for signs of deception. Why keep this from me? From Earth Central Command. Because we couldn't be certain who to trust. Mercer's voice softened. Earth's government has been compromised for decades. Why do you think your mission was authorized with such secrecy? Only a handful of officials know the Valiant even exists. Before Elena could respond, the ship's comm system activated. Captain, to the bridge, came Commander Seto's urgent voice. We've reached Haven Colony. Elena rose from her desk. This conversation isn't over. It's just beginning, Mercer replied quietly. On the main view screen, Haven Colony came into view as the Valiant emerged from the nebula's edge. Unlike the massive orbital habitats of Earth or the domed cities of Mars, Haven was built into the surface of a large asteroid, nearly invisible until they were almost upon it. Only the small docking bay and defense platforms indicated it was anything other than a barren rock. "They're hailing us," reported Lieutenant Chen. On screen, Elena ordered. Marcus Donovan appeared again, this time standing in what appeared to be a control center, with several others working in the background. "Captain Rice, welcome to Haven. We're transmitting docking instructions now. Please follow them precisely. Our defensive grid is necessarily aggressive toward unidentified approaches." As the Valiant maneuvered toward the indicated docking port, Elena studied the colony through the view screen. Hidden defense turrets tracked their approach, and she noted at least 2 weapons platforms that utilized technology far beyond what humans were supposed to possess. "Captain," Dr. Novak called from the science station, "I'm detecting unusual energy readings from within the asteroid. It's similar to the artifact's signature, but much larger in scale." Elena exchanged a meaningful glance with Commander Sato. Whatever Haven Colony was hiding, it went well beyond being a simple research outpost. After docking procedures were completed, Elena assembled a small team to disembark. Herself, Commander Sato, Lieutenant Commander Ortiz for security, Dr. Novak to monitor the artifact, and Dr. Mercer, still technically in custody, but potentially valuable given her apparent connection to whatever was happening. Marcus Donovan met them at the airlock, accompanied by 2 security officers. In person, he appeared more frail than he had on the view screen, but his eyes were sharp and evaluating. "Captain Reyes," he greeted her with a firm handshake. "Thank you for trusting us enough to dock. I understand you have questions." "More than a few," Elena replied dryly. Donovan nodded. "Follow me. The director is waiting." They were led through a series of corridors carved directly into the asteroid rock, reinforced with some kind of translucent material Elena didn't recognize. The facility was larger than it appeared from outside, with dozens of people moving purposefully through the hallways. Elena noted that many wore snippets of different colonial uniforms, suggesting Haven drew its personnel from throughout human space. They finally reached a large circular chamber dominated by a central platform. On it stood a complex apparatus surrounding a familiar object, a sphere identical to the artifact in the Valiant's hold, but much larger. "The prime artifact," Donovan explained, noting their surprised expressions. "What you found was merely a key. This is the lock it opens." From a doorway on the far side of the chamber stepped a tall, distinguished woman with silver hair and dark skin. She moved with the confidence of someone accustomed to command. "I am Director Imani Washington," she announced, "former Admiral of Earth Fleet before I officially died 12 years ago." Elena recognized the name immediately. Admiral Washington had been a legendary figure, presumed killed when her flagship was destroyed during a supposed pirate attack. "You faked your death," Elena stated rather than asked. Washington nodded. It became necessary when I discovered the truth about humanity's protectors. She gestured toward the prime artifact. This technology predates both the Orion Collective and the Tauri Dominion. It belongs to a species they call the Precursors, who vanished 50,000 years ago. Dr. Novak stepped forward, unable to contain his scientific curiosity. What does it do? It manipulates quantum fields on a galactic scale, Washington explained. The Orion and Tauri both achieved their technological supremacy by studying and adapting precursor artifacts, but neither species has ever found a complete, functioning system until now. And what do you intend to do with it? Elena asked cautiously. Washington's expression was solemn. Level the playing field. The artifact you brought us completes the system. Once activated, it will generate a field that nullifies certain types of advanced technology throughout this sector of the galaxy, specifically the weapons systems of both the Orion and Tauri fleets. That's impossible, Dr. Novak breathed. Is it? Washington challenged. You witnessed how your artifact protected the Valiant during the confrontation with alien vessels. That was merely a fraction of its potential. Dr. Mercer stepped forward. The director speaks the truth, Captain. I've been part of this project from the beginning. This is why I joined your mission, to ensure the key artifact reached Haven safely. Elena felt the weight of the situation pressing down on her. If Washington was right, they stood on the precipice of fundamentally altering the balance of power in the galaxy. If she was wrong or lying, they might be participating in humanity's extinction. You're asking me to take an enormous risk on faith, Elena said carefully. Not on faith, Washington replied. On evidence. She gestured to a nearby console. We've compiled records spanning 2 centuries, evidence of alien manipulation of human affairs, suppression of our technological development, orchestrated conflicts between our colonies. As Elena reviewed the data, her certainty wavered. The evidence was compelling. Systematic manipulation that had kept humanity divided and dependent. There's something else you should see, Washington said quietly, activating another display. It showed a massive fleet of both Orion and Tauri vessels gathering at a staging area near the Sol system, Earth's home. This was recorded 3 days ago by one of our operatives. Both powers have concluded that humanity has become too dangerous to merely control. They intend to implement what they call Containment Protocol Alpha, the systematic reduction of human population centers to pre-industrial levels. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. How long do we have? Elena finally asked. 5 days, perhaps 6 before they begin. Elena turned to her officers. Commander Seto's expression was grim but resolute. Dr. Novak looked terrified, but nodded slightly. Ortiz maintained his professional demeanor, but his hand had moved closer to his sidearm, ready for whatever came next. If we activate the prime artifact, Elena asked, what happens to my ship, my crew? They'll be protected within the field radius, Washington assured her. But we need to act quickly. Our latest intelligence suggests both alien powers have realized the potential of what we've discovered. They're converging on this region with everything they have. As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the facility. A young officer rushed into the chamber. Director. Multiple contacts dropping out of FTL at the edge of the system. Configurations match both Orion and Tauri battle groups. How much time do you need to activate the artifact? Elena asked Washington urgently. The integration process takes approximately 40 minutes, Dr. Mercer answered instead. But we'll need to keep them occupied until the sequence completes. Once initiated, it cannot be interrupted without catastrophic consequences. Elena made her decision. Commander Sato, return to the Valiant. Prepare to engage the enemy vessels. Delaying tactics only. We need to buy them time. Captain, the Valiant can't stand against a full battle group, Sato protested. We won't be fighting alone, Washington interjected. Haven has defenses, and we have allies in the system, other human ships that have been waiting for this moment. Elena nodded grimly. Then let's make it count. Humanity has been playing by their rules for too long. It's time we showed them what we're truly capable of. As Commander Sato departed to prepare the Valiant for battle, Alina turned to Dr. Mercer. "I hope your Prometheus project delivers what you promise, Sarah. The fate of our entire species depends on it." "It will," Mercer replied with quiet confidence. "Humanity is about to rise from the ashes. That's why we named it Prometheus, the Titan who stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity." Outside Haven Colony, space itself seemed to warp as dozens of alien vessels emerged from faster-than-light travel. The crystalline structures of Tauri ships contrasted sharply with the organic curves of the Orion vessels, ancient enemies united by a common fear, the potential of humanity unleashed. Within the asteroid, the prime artifact began to glow with an inner light as the integration sequence commenced. On the Valiant's bridge, Commander Sato ordered battle stations as the crew prepared for what might be their final stand. And throughout human space, operatives of Project Prometheus activated hidden transmitters, spreading a simple message to every colony and outpost. Prometheus is lit. The fire spreads. The HSS Valiant moved away from Haven, positioning itself between the advancing alien armada and the asteroid colony. Behind it, several other ships emerged from hiding places within the nebula, older vessels, some civilian craft hastily converted for combat, others military ships thought lost in previous engagements. As the first shots were fired, Captain Alina Reyes stood on Haven's command deck watching the battle unfold. The next few hours would determine whether humanity would rise to claim its rightful place among the stars or be forever subjugated by alien powers. Either way, the legend of the Valiant and its defiance was about to be written in fire across the cosmos. In the prime artifact chamber, the integration reached its final stage. The sphere pulsed with energy that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Dr. Novak and Dr. Mercer worked frantically, making final adjustments as the power levels climbed toward the activation threshold. "Field stabilizing," Dr. Mercer announced. "Quantum harmonics aligned. 30 seconds to full integration," Dr. Novak added, his voice filled with tense anticipation. Outside, the battle rage. The Valiant executed a daring attack run against a Tauri cruiser, its weapons finding gaps in the alien vessel's defenses. 3 human ships had already been lost, but the delaying action was working, keeping the aliens from bringing their full firepower to bear against Haven. Director Washington watched the countdown with steely resolve. "Are we broadcasting on all human frequencies?" "Yes, Director. Every colony, every outpost, every ship will receive the signal the moment the prime artifact activates." As the final seconds ticked away, Washington turned to Alina. "Captain Reyes, would you do the honor? This is humanity's moment. It seems fitting that the commander who defied 2 galactic powers should be the one to set us free." Alina stepped forward to the activation console, her hand hovering over the final command sequence. In this moment, all the doubts, all the questions seemed to fall away. Throughout human history, they had reached for the stars, refusing to be limited, refusing to accept the boundaries others tried to impose. "For Earth," she said quietly, "and for all humanity." She pressed the activation key. The prime artifact flared with blinding light that pulsed outward in expanding rings of energy. On screens throughout the command center, they watched as the wavefront engulfed first the Valiant, then the alien vessels. As it passed over the enemy ships, their weapons suddenly went silent, their engines faltering. "It's working," Dr. Mercer breathed, watching the sensor readings. "The field is stabilizing, expanding at predicted rates." Throughout human space, the signal spread. "From this day forward, humanity stands on its own terms. We will no longer accept limitation or control. We will forge our own destiny among the stars." On the screens, they watched as the alien vessels began a disorganized retreat, their superior technology neutralized by the ancient precursor device. The Valiant and its makeshift fleet pursued cautiously, ensuring the invaders left the system. "We've won the battle," Commander Seto reported from the Valiant. "But what happens now?" Elena looked to Washington, who was already coordinating with operatives throughout human space. "Now," the director said, "we negotiate from a position of strength. The field effect will last approximately 3 years before requiring reactivation. During that time, both the Orion and Tauri will be forced to deal with us as equals." "And if they refuse?" Elena asked. Washington's expression was resolute. "Then we'll remind them that humanity has always excelled at one thing above all others: adapting and overcoming. With access to precursor technology, our scientists estimate we can advance our own technology by centuries within a few years. We'll no longer need their protection, real or imagined." As the immediate crisis passed, Elena found herself back on the observation deck of the Valiant, watching as human ships from across the colonies began arriving at Haven, responding to the call of freedom. Dr. Mercer joined her, no longer a prisoner, but a hero of the new human alliance. "Was it worth it?" Elena asked quietly. "All the secrecy, the manipulation, the risks." Mercer considered the question carefully. "History will decide that. But I believe we've given humanity something it hasn't had in 70 years, a future determined by our own choices, not by alien overseers." Elena nodded slowly. "The Valiant was built to show what humans could achieve when we refuse to accept limitations. I suppose in that sense, we've succeeded beyond anyone's expectations." As they spoke, more ships continued to arrive, a gathering armada of human vessels from every colony and outpost. Not built for war, but coming together in a moment of historic unity. "Captain," Commander Seto called from the bridge, "you're needed. The representatives from the human colonies wish to establish a provisional government. They're asking for your input." Elena exchanged a look with Mercer before heading for the bridge. The path ahead would not be easy. The alien powers would not simply accept this new reality without resistance. Humanity would need to be vigilant, united, and clever. But for the first time in generations, their destiny was in their own hands. And the legend of the Valiant, the human warship that defied the galaxy's superpowers and ignited a revolution, would inspire generations to come. As Elena entered the bridge, the crew stood at attention, their faces filled with pride and purpose. Beyond the view screen, a new chapter in human history was beginning, and they would write it themselves.